49ers have Christian McCaffrey back. He's in the locker room today. He was in the practice field. He was running. He was juking. He looked good. Now, he hasn't actually done any, contact drills yet, but that's coming this week. And if he has no setbacks, it seems like the 49ers have no qualms about playing him against Tampa. Question is, do they need to play him against Tampa to win this weekend? What do you think?
I don't think they need to. No, I don't think Tampa Bay, especially with the loss of their two receivers, their two-star receivers, I don't think the 49ers need him to beat that team. I think he will play, and I think they'll use him for sure. But do they need him? No, I don't think so.
Okay, let me just disagree with you right there. The
All
thing
right,
about the
let's go.
Niners is, I like the Niners without Christian McCaffrey this year. I don't think it really matters who they're playing, unless they're playing a team that's completely awful. Like we're talking buns,
Like Cowboys?
cheeks. Yeah, if they're playing a team that's like cheeks, then sure, absolutely. But a team that's sort of like middle of the road, that's a team that could give the 49ers trouble without McCaffrey. And another thing about the Niners, like they haven't locked in yet this season. They haven't won 2 games in a row. So to me, they've been sort of waiting for McCaffrey to come back. I can't, I'm not in their heads, but they've just been so, even the coach said they lack urgency. So the urgency is, well, second half is here. We got McCaffrey back. Should they be expected to beat the Bucs without McCaffrey? Yes. But this team would find a way to lose that game. Considering they lost to like the Rams under the same circumstances, right? Like the Rams didn't have their wide receivers. Niners found a way to lose.
Yeah, no, maybe the question, maybe I didn't answer the question properly. They shouldn't need him. It makes their job a whole lot easier with Christian McCaffrey. And so I think that, they're absolutely going to use him. They are a more talented team to me than Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So when I say they don't need him or they shouldn't need him, that's what I mean. But they shouldn't have needed him to beat the Rams. They shouldn't have needed him to beat the Cardinals. So to your point, I understand and I agree and understand that aspect of it.
Like, to me, Baker Mayfield is in the same tier of quarterback as Brock.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that Brock is better than Baker. Now, Baker's missing his receivers. Brock's missing Brandon Ayuk. Thing about the Niners, like, even if you had Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, they're excellent. But so are the Niners corners. Charvarius Ward, Renardo Green, Diamador Lenore, even Isaac Yiadom has been pretty good this year. So it seems to me the best way to go at the Niners is go at Devondre Campbell, go at Jair Brown, safeties and linebackers. And this Bucs team, they got Cade Otton, who is a tight end who catches a lot of passes. They got Rachaad White, who's a running back who catches a lot of passes. Bucky Irving. It's enough for them to stay competitive against a Christian McCaffrey-less 49ers.
Yeah, and I think the real problem, though, to me is, defense isn't doing as good as they were last year, and they haven't really been tested in the run game, stopping the run yet. So we'll see how that goes throughout the season. But like you said, the defensive back unit is solid, one of the best that we've had in recent years. I don't think the problem for the 49ers is really the major problem for the 49ers. They haven't had problems really on defense, in my opinion. It's not a horrible defense by any means, in my opinion. They've done a good job of moving the ball up and down the field. It's just punching it in, scoring in the red zone. That's really the problem for the 49ers this season, and CMC makes a huge difference. So defensively, not concerned. Moving the ball, not concerned. But having Christian McCaffrey definitely opens it up from a scoring standpoint. Although they have been leaning on George Kittle more than they have been in the past, and Juwan Jennings is back, so that'll help as well. They shouldn't need Christian McCaffrey to beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but I expect them to play, and I expect them to help tremendously.
The other thing about Tampa that's kind of interesting to me, like, same thing with the Chiefs, right? Like, the Niners, they faced a Chiefs team that didn't have Juju, didn't have Rashee Rice, they didn't have receivers. And the Chiefs still put up 28 points and won, in large part because the Niners couldn't contain Mahomes as a runner. And Baker Mayfield isn't the runner that Mahomes is, but he's averaging 5.8 yards per carry this year on 3.5 carries a game. So if Nick Bosa is going to keep doing that thing where he rushes past the quarterback and then dives at the quarterback's ankles and like tries to grab his shoelaces as he goes by, that's not going to get it done. You know, like they have to keep that man in the pocket. If they let him scramble around and McCaffrey doesn't play, yeah, they could lose. But 5.5-point favorites on the road, talking about all the adversity the Niners have faced this year. Like, no, you're still head and shoulders better than every opponent you face. You're expected to win. The fact that you're 4-4 is remarkable, but they've gone on runs after bye weeks before.
Right. They typically do. If you look at the last several years, I mean, last 4 years under Kyle Shanahan, they have a lot of success after the bye week. Kyle Shanahan is actually pretty good, has a really good record after the bye week. So I fully expect the 49ers to go there and beat Tampa Bay. Christian McCaffrey makes it a whole hell of a lot easier, even if he's just on the field for a little bit. But it's not just Christian McCaffrey that's coming back. You know, you got Juwan Jennings. That's huge. Also for the 49ers, having him back. Ricky Pearsall is kind of working his way into the lineup. Isaac Rindo's kind of coming out of nowhere. So I think all of these things combined, mixed with coming off the bye week, mixed with coming off of, you know, being able to get healthy. Like guys, this is not being talked about a lot, but Fred Warner, George Kittle, they were nursing injuries. They're playing through them, but they were banged up, and this bye week is going to allow them to heal. So I expect them to be at full strength as well in this game on Sunday too. So that's huge also.
That's another, like, you brought this up a minute ago, but the red zone stuff. The red zone issues are another reason why the Niners can never feel that confident without McCaffrey, because you don't know, like, that week could be the week that they're 1 of 4, 2 of 5 in the red zone. Like a few weeks ago, they played Arizona and they scored 16 points on offense in that game. And Arizona doesn't have a good defense at all. So with McCaffrey, you're not really worried about them getting to the 6-yard line and not scoring a touchdown. But right now, that's very much in this team's DNA.
I expect the 49ers to make a huge jump in points per game now that Christian McCaffrey's back. But I will point out and say it's kind of, what's the right word? Pathetic, I guess, if I'm going to go extreme with my vocabulary, to not be able to score just because you're missing Christian McCaffrey. You still have Isaac Rindo, Jordan Mason, George Kittle. You got a ton of talent, Deebo Samuel. That part does speak negatively in regards to Kyle Shanahan and his offensive play calling. I don't think the loss of CMC should have been a good, valid excuse for the 49ers not to score with all the weapons they have with Brock Purdy at quarterback. And, like, they should have been able to score regardless. But the reality is they weren't, and now they have CMC, and I expect that to help out.
Yeah, I mean, to me, taking it back to how you started it, they should be able to win this game without McCaffrey. They should be able to say, you know what, this is really a very serious injury he's coming back from. We've been so patient. We've worked so hard not to rush it. We need him here for December. And we need him here for next year, too. We don't want to risk him coming back too soon, tearing an Achilles, and missing next year, too. So we can beat the Bucs this week. We don't need Christian. We'll bring back Christian when we really need him for Green Bay and Buffalo. But if they lose this game and fall to 4-5 while Arizona's hot and the Rams are hot, I mean, all of a sudden you're looking at their odds of actually making the playoffs, maybe dipping below 50%. Midway through the season. I mean, they can't let that happen. It's not a must-win game, but they can't really mess around here. If McCaffrey says he's good to go and he gets cleared, they got to play him. And I'm not saying give him 25 carries, but don't lose. Play him as much as it takes to win.
I mean, the 49ers have kind of painted themselves in a corner where it almost is every game is almost a must-win game at this point for the 49ers.
There's no margin for error.
There's no margin for error. So they have to, like, you know, I saw a lot of people saying just play Christian McCaffrey when you get to the playoffs. Like, well, what if you don't get to the playoffs? Like, that's what you're playing for right now. You have to get there first.